Good evening. Continuing with our Mishlei Yomi. We're at the second day. We're in the first chapter, the second verse. Just to review, yesterday we said Mishlei Shlomo ben David, Melech Yisrael. And we wrote that was Shlomo Melech's introduction, telling us who he is and the power of a mashal, the power of an anecdote. Today he tells us, as the way of Farshim, as we'll soon see, tell us, today he tells us why exactly he feels that a mashal is the greatest way to give a message over. He says, this is Pasuk Bet, Ladat Chochma u'Musar, in order that a person can learn and acquire wisdom as well as ethic or discipline, however you want to learn the translation of Musar. Lehavin imre bina, in order to understand words of bina. So this is something we just have to give a quick introduction on. Very often in our prayers specifically and in other literature, we see there's something called chokhmah. We see there's something called bina. And we see there's something called dat. So in English, some choose to translate wisdom, discerning, knowledge. But what's the correct translation for each one? So it's as follows. Wisdom is when someone acquires knowledge. It's acquiring a piece of knowledge, a fact. That's what chokhmah is. Bina, on the other hand, means when a person's able to understand from one concept to the next. That's what bina is. As we say in Hebrew, le'avin davar midavar. Now, the next is dat. Dat is, as we say in Hebrew, koach ha'avdala, when we're able to understand and discern between one concept and the next. So the first chokhmah is understanding, learning a piece of knowledge. The next would be applying that knowledge somewhere else, that's bina. And dat would be discerning and making a difference and distinction between different concepts or pieces of knowledge. Now, based on that, we have a lot of those words here. We have ladat, we have that one. We have chokhmah, and we have bina. So, what's exactly Shlomo Melech doing? So therefore the Mefarshim go and explain exactly what's going on in this pasuk. Rashi says as follows. He says, chokhmah is midat tzadikim. I'm quoting you Rashi. Rashi says, chokhmah midat tzadikim lehodia labriot chokhmah u'musar. So Shlomo Melech was coming and giving us pearls, gems of wisdom, in order that we can learn wisdom and discipline and ethics. Shiyu amelim b'Torah shiyu chokhmah u'musar bina. So Rashi is coming and telling us the reason why Shlomo Melech came and put this composition together was in order for us to learn from this and apply it through the study of Torah. Now the other Rishonim, they go and they dissect each one. We'll start with the Rabbeinu Yonah. Rabbeinu Yonah says, Chokhmah is midat tzadikim. He says, Musar is gnut hareshaim. Meaning, he's coming and telling you, when you say chokhmah, chokhmah is something which more attached to a tzaddik, someone who's wise, someone who's here to learn. Musar is discipline. Musar is a whip into shape. Rabbi Yonah is coming and explaining. And what's bina? Imre bina, he says things that are very deep. Dvarim amukim shelo yasig adam lidaatam ad shitbonen bahem v'yamik behavanatam. Imre bina, so there's chokhmah, so we explained wisdom for tzaddikim. Musar, which is a whip, a shake, a wake-up call to the Shaim. And then comes Imre Bina. Imre Bina, as he explains, is something when one learns deep and very, very deep into understanding. And that's sometimes not really alluding to reading many words, but it could be contemplating, sitting and contemplating about the concepts that he brings forth. The Ralbag, the Rinach Mias says as follows. Chokhmah is Talmud Torah. Musar is Derech Eretz. That makes a lot of sense. And he says you can't have only Torah without Derech Eretz. And same, you can't have Derech Eretz without Torah, because how would one know how to act properly? And then he ends off. What is the purpose of them? It's to put them together. Ul achar shelamad chokhmah מתבונן בה מעצמו. After a person learns, we have to learn this concept. We should not take anything for granted in life. When someone teaches you something, we need to, as Jews, we always know how to ask. There's a difference in asking at the right time and at the wrong time. First, if someone teaches you something, if you read something, read it in its completion, hear the person out completely, let it settle, and now is the proper time to ask. But we often take things for granted, whether it's things about life, it could even be concepts that we speak about in the Torah. Once someone teaches you something, let it settle. Don't ask right away. But after it settles and you've contemplated and thought about it, it would be the proper time to ask if it hasn't settled well with you. I wanted to quote a midrash. The midrash says, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai teaches us that the Jewish people acquired three things with Yisurim, with suffering, and the Umot HaOlam, the other nations, are envious of those three things that were given to us, even though we acquired it through suffering and pain. The first is Torah. The second is Eretz Yisrael. And the third, does anyone know? Olam Haba. These three things we can only acquire through Yisurim, through suffering and through hardship. And what's the point of this midrash? The point of this midrash is which pasuk does Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai teach us that we can acquire Torah through suffering or hardship or toiling? He says from Torah minayin dichtiv ladat chokhmah umusar la'avin imre bina. This very pasuk. Why? Because it says in Tehillim as well, Asher gever asher tiasrenu yah umitoratecha tilamdenu. We see that the learning of Torah is a yisurim. It's something as it's also the same root as musar. It means hardship. It means chaydan. It means discipline. It means a format, and that is something that we are so lucky with. We receive the Torah with yisurim, and it's something that we take pride in that we have it. The last point I wanted to mention, side over here, was from the Rava. He says as follows. He says Chokhmah, he interprets it a little differently. Chokhmah is the root of fearing God. He shoresh kol shehi yirat Hashem. Anything that is the fear of God, that stems from Chokhmah. Musar has to do with fulfilling mitzvot, as he explains. Bina, and this is our great explanation, is l'abdil ben davar ledavar shelo yasim choshech leor ve'or lechoshech. Understanding clear and definite boundaries between one concept and the next. And all this alluding to, again, the purpose why Shlomo HaMelech comes to write Mishlei was to impart upon us this wisdom, this musar, and hopefully through contemplating and delving deep into it, attaining real bina, which is a very, very high level of wisdom and understanding. That Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless us to understand Torah. Understanding Torah is not always so easy, and through the understanding of Torah, hopefully apply it to the building of our character traits, and apply it to being able to pass it on to our children, and Bezat Hashem, even our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.